Okay guys, first off I just want to say thank you for the continued support on my track day videos. I've received a lot of positive feedback over the years. Going on 3 years now, street and track use with the Corvette, and I must say it's been great. I've had minimal issues with the car. Driving to work a lot, and really not a whole lot to complain about. I did have one small issue on this track day. After a couple hot laps and getting the engine bay pretty warm, I came into the pits, let the car cool down, and then when I went to go back out next session, the car was just completely dead. It wasn't even cranking, so I suspected a dead spot in the starter. Hit it with the only tool that I had on me, which was a torque wrench, and the car started right up. So yeah, so that's something I'm gonna have to end up changing in the future, but I've been driving it for about a month now since then, and it hasn't given me any issues. So yeah, I just enjoy driving the car to the track as opposed to trailering, because it just keeps things nice and simple. I don't have to load the car up on the trailer or anything like that. I'm an hour drive to the track, so if I can just hop in the car and go for a cruise down the highway and be there and just drive home, seems to be ideal for me. The most recent thing I've done is the bucket seat in the car, and it's just really been a pain to take in and out the way the seat is mounted in there. So I've kind of just been keeping it in the car, even for street use. And I gotta say, it's definitely, it's just not the most comfortable thing. I haven't really been able to get the driving position like fine-tuned too well. I'm definitely sitting a little bit higher than the factory seat, and I can't really seem to get like the bucket seat leaned back at the right angle that I like. I feel like if I lean it a little bit too far back, it feels like a little bit of a stretch to push the clutch all the way to the floor. And if I lean the bucket seat forward a little bit, it just seems like my body weight is just leaning forward, and it's just pushing a little bit too much on my shoulders and making me hunch. So the bucket seat, it's great for the track. It's made a huge difference, but if you're looking to, use your C4 like the way I'm using it for street and track, I would definitely say the sport bucket seats are the way to go. I have a set that I picked up for $100, and I definitely going to be a future upgrade.
I just...
You pushed it too hard, I know. You let it pass and you...
Yeah, and my line was off.
You came in, you tried to come back in, you overshot the turn.
Yeah, screwed up my judgment a little bit.
Grass,
yeah.
Back out.
Happens, right?
We don't miss a thing. You're all right?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you.
Alright, so after a little mishap there, car kind of got away from me. Threw my line off when I let that C7 pass me, but it happens. It's all part of driving on the track and learning. I got back on the course here, and you can see I'm kind of battling the car a little bit. It had drizzled a little bit, so just kind of being cautious and feeling it out. I've reached the point with this car where at this track, Thompson Speedway, I can run pretty consistent minute and 23-second lap, and that's moving pretty good for a car with this power and this weight. That's probably as much as I'm going to get out of it. Still running the Falken RT660s and the track pads on there from powerstop, and it's just getting to the point with this car where I enjoy driving it, and I've done probably 4 circuits in the area now, and I'm just starting to like get to a point where I feel like I need to start like modifying the car to feel like I want to stay interested in it. It's all stock as far as the intake, the exhaust, the cam. So I've kind of been in this mindset lately where it's like, do I just keep driving it the way it is, see if I can go any faster, or just be okay with what it is and just kind of keep it stock and simple. I think ultimately keeping this car as simple as possible is probably the best way to go. It's been a great car to just learn how to grip drive and set lines, and it's been reliable, and I think that's what a lot of people probably miss out on when they get into doing track days. Is you don't need a car that's overpowered or has a lot of aftermarket stuff done to it. Buying something like a C4 or a 350Z or an FRS or anything like that, and just keeping it basic and doing tires and brake pads, it gets you used to going to the track, keeping an eye on the flagger station so that you can pay attention when they're, having, you pass someone or someone pass you, and just communicating on the track properly. All of that stuff is really important. So this car has been a great way to get into track days. I do have a couple other builds on the way in the future I will be posting on the channel, and as tempting as it is to want to make this car go faster with the cam and exhaust and all that stuff, I think I'm just going to keep it basic and simple for now. So I want to take a few minutes to just talk about how this car actually feels when you're driving it and when you're pushing it to this limit basically of traction. I didn't really have anything to compare to when I first started track driving this car. So I got out there, I had Nitto NT05s on it, I just had Rock Auto track pads. So that's what I started with, and my first thought on this car when I originally got out on the track was, this thing handles great, it's stays flat, does everything it has to do. The track times were really good. I was comparing it to a lot of other cars out there, and it was pretty much on par with everything that is around the same weight and horsepower as it. So it was doing everything that it had to do. But like as time goes on and I'm starting to drive other cars on the track, I can't help but kind of like compare the way they drive to the C4. So one thing I've noticed is the steering is definitely it's kind of, I guess you could say, numb. You don't really have a lot of steering feel. You can, if you watch close, you can see I'm putting a lot of steering input into it in some sections, and the car is really not changing direction a lot. Everything's kind of like I guess like a rough guess of where you're going. You can see me kind of sawing the wheel a little bit so I can kind of feel the limit of traction and where the car wants to break loose. So that's probably my first complaint. The steering feel is just, it's a very vague feel. The transmission feels really good, but it's not, it doesn't feel like sport tuned. Like when you're going through the gears, it feels almost like a luxury car. So when you're driving this car really hard, it still just feels almost like you're just kind of cruising, I guess you could say. You can see I'm just like throwing through the gears on the back stretch, and it's nice and smooth, which isn't a bad thing. But when you're driving a car in this manner all the time, I feel like a little bit more feedback is probably a better thing. Coming into the corners, the only way that I can get the car to rotate is if I get heavy on the brakes and I apply a lot of steering input. I basically have to put all the weight on the front end of the car to get it to rotate. If I'm not full on the brakes and turning in at the same time, the car tends to want to understeer or plow a little bit, and that's probably due to the older chassis. It's just, it's a little bit flimsy, and there's also a lot of weight up front with the L98 up there. So with this car, you kind of have to treat it almost like it's like balancing kind of I don't even know, almost like a big thing of water. You need to just like shift the weight forward, shift the weight back, and kind of just let it do its own thing. It doesn't really have a super like precise feel to it. One of the things that I did read about or see some people talk about in videos was the ABS on these cars having issues while on track. So I did notice that the first couple track days the ABS was constantly kicking on, but then over time I kind of just like adapted to it. So now I kind of drive it like relying on the ABS. When I'm coming into the corners, on the brakes pretty much as late as possible, and I'm just letting the ABS kind of guide me into the corner, and it actually works out nice. I mean, you can obviously feel the brake pedal pulsating a little bit, but once you kind of get used to it, you know what you can get away with. The ABS actually works really well. It doesn't lock up, and I'm able to turn in pretty late. And you can see right here, like coming into this first corner, like I'm coming in at 90 miles an hour, full on the brakes, stopping at like the 3 zone, and the car does it pretty well. So although it feels weird, it seems like it does everything it has to do. I mean, I guess I can't really complain. It's 1990 ABS. Pretty much every track day, probably about 2 laps in, the power steering pump whines. It sounds like it's a supercharger, and I really thought it was a problem like the first few track days, because I'm hearing the pump whine like crazy. I'm like, oh, this thing's gonna explode and it's gonna cause an issue. Well, it's been 3 years now, and it does that every track day, and I'm kind of just used to it now. I know these cars do have a pretty big power steering cooler on them, so I just put red line fluid in it, I bled it out, and it whines when it gets hot, and then when it cools down it just goes back to normal. So I just got my fingers crossed that I'm not going to have any issues with that in the future, but so far that's been pretty good. As far as the back, the LSD in this car is amazing. It's got the clutch type LSD with the Dana 44, and I've never had any issues with like in-lift or spinning one tire. The car has gotten sideways multiple times in both directions, which tells me the LSD is locking up nice and it's doing what it has to do. So yeah, no complaints there. I would say my shocks are getting a little weak. They are the original shocks in this car, so I might eventually put a new set of Bilsteins on there. But yeah, aside from that, the car feels great. Thank you guys for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.